Alright y'all, so today's video is going to be dedicated to adding dimension with only extensions. So basically, if you have any clients that are scared about lightening their hair but they have extensions, this is going to be an easy way to take them to a more dimensional look without having to put bleach on their hair. So if you want to know how to get from that to this, go ahead and stay tuned and we'll get started. The first part of this process, I am actually going to be doing an all over toner on her, or gloss, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to be taking her lighter like I said, but she does like to have a little bit of a gloss on her hair just to add shine, just to make it look a little bit more healthier, and even just honestly using the shine just adds so much. So we're going through first, we're wrecking Shades EQ with 3/4, 3N, and 1/4, 1B. Now she likes to be dark. Her natural hair color is in between a 2 and a 3, and her hair doesn't really like to hold on to color, so I'm going to make sure I'm ensuring that longevity since I'm just using Shades EQ with 10 volume. A lot of people ask me, why do you like to use 10 volume whenever you're using Shades EQ? And it's just because 10 volume is going to give you a little bit more lift with a whole lot more deposit than just the regular Shades EQ processing solution. So that's why I'm using that. As far as this process goes, it's super easy. I'm basically just going to be wetting down her hair and applying that formula all over just so I can go ahead and make sure that I'm rubbing it in. Anytime you're using dark colors like this, you want to make sure you're wearing gloves, especially if you don't have your nails painted. I've learned that the hard way. I'm tired of walking around looking like I have just like played in the dirt for 4 hours making mud pies like I'm a 5-year-old, but make sure you're wearing gloves on this because it is going to help not stain your hands or your nails, because as hairstylists we all know there's nothing you can do really to get hair color off of your nails besides going and getting a manicure. So now that she is sat, I've used 10 volume. I always add 15 to my developer time because that's what my mom taught me growing up since she did hair too. So since I use 10 volume, I add 15 to that, and that's what's going to give me 25 minutes. The rule with Shades EQ is that you always want to leave it on 1 minute per wash that you want. So leaving it on for 25 minutes is going to ensure that I get at least 25 washes out of it, and that's just a good rule of thumb to go by anytime you're using Shades EQ across the line. 25 minutes is the full processing time for Shades EQ, so if you leave it on any more than that, it's not really going to do much or add longevity in that sense, so just keep it in mind. 25 minutes is the full processing time. I would leave it on at least 10 minutes at the least, but it doesn't really do anything but after 25 minutes like I was saying. Anytime I do any kind of like all over color, all over toner, I do like to wash twice just to make sure that all of the color is out of her hair. The last thing I want is to be leaving color in her hair. We're going in, adding lighter color extensions. She goes home and washes, and that color that's left over bleed into her extension. So I'm using 2 washes of a color safe shampoo, conditioning, and then we're just going to wrap her up in a cute turban, blow dry her. And this is going to be our end result. So if you can go back to the before and see what her hair looked like, this looks so much shinier and healthier, and that's honestly the only reason we do a gloss on her. So now that we've got that gloss all perfect and you can see what it looks like now, she has the most amazing natural hair. We can go ahead and get into the extensions. Now this client doesn't really need extensions. She just likes the fullness that it gives. So the first thing we're going to be doing is sectioning off a horseshoe. Now I love to use horseshoe sectionings because it works with the curvature of their head and it makes everything look a lot more seamless and natural. And so here, this is what I'm going to be doing, is almost like a little test. So what I like to do is section off the section and then clip up the extensions. As you saw on here, I have a darker one on top and a more dimensional one on bottom. The colors that I'm using, the darker color, the jet black one, is going to be the Christina by JESSI Stylez Co. And our lighter dimensional blonde and brunette color is going to be the Kendra. These both are 2 of the prettiest colors we have because there's nothing sexier than just like jet black hair. And then Kendra is one of my favorite colors to add to any brunette or even a blonde to add a little bit of subtle pops. And then what I've done is clip it up on her hair, let her see how it looks, ask her if she likes it, and if she does, we can go ahead and get into our beadwork. So here I am doing my beadwork. We have a few different methods at JESSI that we actually teach, so obviously I can't go into too much detail about what I'm doing as far as this goes, just because it wouldn't be fair to our certified stylists that are paid for our classes, but we do have a few different methods that we like to do this. So the method I'm using today is our thick-haired bead placement, or it's just a track of beads that go back to back to back to ensure that there's even tension throughout this section of hair, so the weight of the weft is distributed evenly, and that's going to help her hair stay really safe and healthy over her time. of wearing extensions. So another method that we do offer at JESSI is our fine hair method, and that is awesome for anyone who has fine hair. But since Alexa does have a ton of hair, she is going to be fine with just the thick hair method. She doesn't need that extra security. If you're interested in learning these techniques, you can always go to jessystylez.com and look under in-person classes with Jessie and purchase a ticket. I know we would love to have you at a class, and if you have any questions about classes, you can leave them in the comments below, or you can message me on Instagram. Now, you've seen my client here, Alexa's hair, and she obviously doesn't need extensions. She has amazing natural hair, but she does need the benefits of extensions of having super thick hair. She has a ton of hair, but it is fine hair, and she likes to have really, really thick hair. So it's not going to really be adding a lot of length. It's just going to be adding a lot of fullness for her. We are going to be going through with 2 rows, but if you are just wanting fullness for just anybody, usually starting off with 1 row is mostly ideal. Or you can just do 1 bag of tapes. So in our line at JESSI, what you can do is purchase a half bag of wefts. That's perfect for 1 row, or like I said, purchase 1 bag of tapes. Something else that she's going to be benefiting from having these wefts is that she always says, I curl my hair in the morning, and by the time the afternoon or night comes, I have the flattest hair ever. It looks like I straightened my hair. Extensions style better than normal hair just because they're so full, dense, and thick. At least the ones in our line are, and they style amazingly. So if she does curl her hair, it's going to last her a few days, where she just has to go through and touch up a few pieces as the week goes along in between washes, and she's not going to have to worry about styling her hair twice a day like if she didn't have them. So here is our beaded row all the way beaded and ready to go. So all we have to do is apply the weft on top of this and sew it down so it stays into place. So the color placement that we have chosen is something that I've learned over time is usually what you'll do is put the dominant tone on top and the peekaboo color on bottom. But whenever you're doing 2 rows, what you would do is kind of think of it almost like an Oreo cookie, where the dominant tone is going to be the actual cookie part, and then the icing or the little cream filling of the Oreo is going to be the dimensional tone, but not when it comes to long hair. Alexa's hair is so long, so if we went in and did her dominant tone color, which is the Christina, the black color, as the cookie part, and the dimensional tone as the filling part, it's going to almost get lost within all the dark of the hair, with her natural hair being so long, and then also the extension colors matching that. So what I'm going to be doing is putting that dimensional color on bottom on this first row, which is going to be her bottom row, and then the dominant tone on top, which is kind of like what I was saying, but I hope you guys can kind of understand what I mean by that. And then we're just going to go through and start stitching it down. Whenever it does come to your stitching, it is very important to keep your stitches close together and keep them consistent, just so there's even tension and even security throughout the whole entire section of your beaded track. As far as what type of extension she has, is she has machine wefts, and what that is, it is just a machine sewn weft. And so since the way they are manufactured, it is going to be a little bit thicker and denser at the top, and what that means is the seam of the weft is actually a little bit thicker. So if you're familiar with hand tied wefts, you know the seam is very delicate and fine and lays really flat to the head. So people who have more dense hair, machine wefts are a great option. Machine wefts have been around for years and years. So you are able to use them on pretty much everyone, but we like to avoid them on anyone who has super fine hair, just to ensure that they don't have any bulkiness or popping through. Everything lays super seamless to the head, since they are a little bit thicker at the seam. Moving on to that second row, what I have here is something that I've kind of concocted. So we have the same 2 machine rows. Going back to my Oreo reference, what we have is the dimensional tone on bottom, the dominant tone in the middle, and then on top we have 1 hand-tied bundle laid across from that. What this is going to do is just ensure that she has a little bit extra dimension in her hair. It doesn't get lost in her hair or anything like that. So we're going through and adding dimension on top and bottom, but her natural color in the middle between these two wefts, so that she gets all the pops. But adding 3 machines stacked on top of each other would just be way too much and almost just too thick for her hair. And then I'm just going to be continuing that same process of my bead placement on a smaller horseshoe because I'm at the top of her head, and then also stitching it down with my back-to-back stitches. And now that that second row is in, we can move on to styling. And as I'm going through and curling, you can see those pops of that dimensional color really going through and showing up in her hair. The contrast between her dark color and these pops that we added in with these wefts are really standing out, and it is so gorgeous. This is one of my favorite clients to do because she is like my best friend and because I just think this is just so pretty. I'm going through and styling with a 1-inch iron, and it might be kind of the same thing as our J-Wave, just in a smaller version, but I don't know, you guys are going to have to wait and see what we have coming out at the beginning of next year, because I'm super excited about a bunch of things that we've been working on. But I'm going to go through, style her up, and then we can get our Instagram pictures, and then she is good to go. And wham, here is our after. How did you like that hair flip? As you can see, this color is super subtle, but it does have a lot of great pops to it. I am obsessed with this color just as much as I'm obsessed with this girl right here. She is one of my best friends, like I said, and I just love her to death. She's so fun. You can see a little bit of her personality with her doing her before and afters, and especially with that hair flip. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me over on Instagram, and if you have any recommendations of a video you want to see, just comment them down below.